Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. My name is Abdul Hakim, the manager for Islam for Deaf and those with special educational needs. We'll continue with where we finished off from yesterday, from last week, inshallah. We may have a special guest that will be coming and joining us, inshallah, later on. He's just waking up and sorting himself out. You know how it is in Ramadan. Everyone tries to sleep for the day and get over the fasting, but really the barakah is in the morning also. But alhamdulillah, everyone does it differently. But inshallah, he'll be looking to join us once he gets himself sorted out. But just to carry on from where he was last week, Saturday, we was talking about those with special needs and the deaf community having access to Islamic content in the masjids and in the community centers, inshallah. For those who are joining us again, you can remember for those who are new, who wasn't here last week, I'll give you a brief summary of what we was talking about, and then inshallah we'll carry on, and then we'll have questions also in about half an hour, inshallah. So what we was talking about last week is the difficulty those with special needs and especially the deaf community have when going to the masjid and Islamic conferences, Islamic circles, Islamic lectures in the masjid. We know for the most part we don't really tend to think about it because we're just focused on taking in the knowledge and enjoying ourselves. But there's a group of people from the Muslim Ummah who miss out and who are shunned and who always have to compromise, and they're the deaf community for the most part, and obviously those with other special educational needs. But we're focusing on the deaf at the moment. Islam for Deaf is a registered organization, as I said, that provides Islamic education. We, for the most part, we've approached masjids and we've approached those that organize Islamic events and said that there's a group here of people that want to come, that want to socialize, but they're shunned because Allah's taken away their hearing. Not by obviously their choice, it's by the will of Allah. Allah's taken away their hearing. Either they was born deaf, or they've had an illness, or they've had an accident and they burst the eardrum, or the illness has affected their hearing. So because of that, they are restricted. So the least we can do is actually provide resources for them in our social gatherings, in our lectures, in our masjids. We need to provide for these people, for our brothers and sisters. Um, and as I said, we've had a bit of issues when we've approached these masjids, and they wasn't really too keen on providing interpreters. Why? Because they have to pay for it, especially registered interpreters. They had to pay for interpreters, and they wasn't too really keen on that because obviously, for the most part, they need resources or they need funds themselves to carry out their programs. But what we need to know and highlight is that when we look after those with special needs and the deaf community, Allah looks after us. Allah provides more for us because He provides for them through us. So, we don't need to, or we shouldn't really fear poverty in regards to supporting the deaf community and those with SEN, especially if you're a faith-based community or faith-based establishment. Then, as a masjid, it's your actual job or part of your job at least to cater for those with SEN because the masjid is the heart of the community, as we all know. So, yeah, we had a bit of issues with approaching the masjids and getting them to provide interpreters every Jummah, for example. Assalamu alaikum, Amina. Yeah, so as I said, this is a carry on. Zuddin, Assalamu alaikum. This is an issue which we had a problem with. But alhamdulillah, we're going to be, inshallah, in London Central Mosque anyway. We're going to have more programs there, inshallah. We're looking to have an office there, inshallah, where it will be a point of reference for the deaf community. Inshallah, we're also working in Manchester, Brighton, and various masjids all the way through to Edinburgh. inshallah, because at least we're saying that there should be at least one masjid in every city, at least one. There's hundreds of masjids, probably even thousands throughout the UK, but you rarely find one masjid or a handful of masjids and within the UK that provides interpreters for Jummah, for example. And this is a problem. This is a problem in our community and a problem in our masjids. And if you can imagine how it's like for deaf people as well, to go to the masjid and not be provided for. Everybody else, your whole family, your brothers and sisters are provided for, but you're shunned and you're left out. Why? For no fault of your own. It's because Allah took in your hearing, but it's not your fault. But yet, you go to the masjid and the masjid is not providing for you, it's providing for everybody else. This can be very uh, disheartening. This can be an issue, and it is an issue for deaf people. A lot of deaf people don't even go to the masjid. Deaf Muslims don't go to the masjid anymore because they're not being provided for, and this is an issue which is we need to, as Muslims, look into. So, those who are not aware, our website is www.islamfordeaf.co.uk. That's www.islamfordeaf, islamfordeaf.co.uk. Visit the website and have a look and see the programs that we're doing. Inshallah, is very, very unique, and we're one of the few, if not the only, organizations that providing this service. Inshallah, may Allah, bring more awareness, and inshallah, maybe even more programs, or even maybe or more organizations that will look into this, inshallah, because it's something which in the Muslim community is needed. There's a big, huge gap within this. One thing I'd like to quickly highlight as well is something which maybe a lot of you are familiar with, which is autism, ADHD. A lot of children have, within in general, never mind the Muslim community, have ADHD and autism. This is something also which needs to be made more awareness of. Do more programs need to happen, more Islamic programs? Assalamu alaikum. Yes, it is a very neglected area. It is a very neglected area. We started a madrasa, and we had families bringing their children, but their children had autism and ADHD, and obviously, it can be very disruptive. So what we done was, because there was another madrasa up the road, we sent the abled kids then to there, and we focused on special need kids, because usually it's 5 to 1, 5 kids to 1 adult, but depending on the level or the spectrum of the child with his ADHD. So it may even be 1 to 1, because it can be very challenging dealing with children with autism. Very, very challenging. And a lot of the parents need mental assistance, mental health assistance, because of the responsibility they have with raising a child, and because they're usually shunned as well. Especially going to the masjid, they can't bring the child to the masjid because the child can be a bit unruly because of his illness, or because of the what he's affected with. So therefore, they can't really bring the child out to socialize because of the is a handful. There's no help in the masjid, so therefore the parent is stressed out and needs assistance. But there's not much Islamic assistance, which is a big problem. There's not many imams that are qualified or educated with dealing with special needs. They need Islamic counseling as well. This is a very, very huge, 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 huge gap in the Muslim community, especially in the cultural Muslim community, where people don't want the community to know that their child has a special need. So their child is shunned and locked in the house. And we've come across this, unfortunately, where we visited families, and we've spoke with, I have interpreting, spoke with their deaf child, and the deaf child said told us that the reason why he acts up, and what the problem was, is that the mother contacted us saying that the child is beating her, is hitting her. So obviously we went there, and with the interpreter, we spoke to the child, the youth then I should say, and he says the reason why he's hitting his mother is because she gives the other his siblings or his brothers and sisters all the attention, and he doesn't get no attention. So the only way he can get her attention is by hitting her. So the more attention he's getting, the more he's hitting her to get her attention. He's not hitting her to hurt her. He's hitting her to get her attention so she can respond to him, because he's usually shunned and neglected. So we spoke to the mother, and we said that at the very least, learn sign language so you can communicate with your child. He's your child. He's not a stranger. He's your child. You can barely get through, but learn so you can have a conversation with him, and you can even socialize with other people who have a deaf child. But her second language is English, so and English ain't very good. So that's why I said cultural. English ain't very good, so it's hard for her to learn British Sign Language if you're not fluent in English anyway. So this is the barrier now, and this is what was causing domestic violence. Um, Not only that, but it wasn't being helped by she locking up her son in the house and not letting him out. So he's reacting by hitting her. So this was only going to get worse, and it's only getting worse, and it happens a lot in the cultural community. Again, this is something which we need to look at, and the solution is Islam, but it's just how you understand it and what you do about it. Hence, the masjids need to be and should be the point of reference where they can go to. So we've been approaching masjids. To cut a long story short, we've been approaching masjids and highlighting this situation, and it's something that, inshallah, we're doing. There's a big need for it. Yeah, may Allah know that, la shak, may Allah make it easy for them. It's an issue. It's a problem in the Islamic community. It's something that we definitely need to do, and we can't shun it anymore, because what's happening is that local authorities are now getting involved, and they're not messing about. They will take the child. They're not joking. They will take the child because they will see you as incompetent in looking after your children, because your lack of awareness, your lack of even making an effort to learn, and they see the child in a serious threatening position, which may be the case. So there, unfortunately, we've noticed a few cases where the child has been taken away from the family as well, and we don't want that. We don't encourage that. We don't. We try to. In fact, we try to talk to the parents, and we try to arrange circles so this can be prevented. Also, these circles need to happen in a masjid, because how can I say? I don't want to say old school, but parents who are not from here then, they tend to be more in tuned or more inclined to reach out to their own community in their own masjids. I think many of you will understand what I'm trying to say. Me being a revert, I'm just like Quran Sunnah, everything else is secondary. But certain people are more cultural and tend to be with their own culture and want to deal with their own masjid that deals with their things culturally. So me approaching them not from their culture is, it's not taken seriously until they get a knock on the door from the authorities. That's when it's taken seriously, but then it's too late. So this is something, as I said, needs to be yes, lashak, help one another in acts of piety and righteousness. No doubt, Sahab. You're right. Actions speak louder than words as well. It's like telling someone to have patience. Why you're having patience? It's easy to say, but you need to know when to have patience. The time when you're being afflicted, that's when you need to have patience, not before or after. But anyway, as I said, inshallah, if many of you are familiar with masjids, you know, ask the question, what do you do, or what can we do to help you support the deaf community and support those with SEN, special education needs? Can we start a campaign? Can we start a program so we can start doing circles, especially hopefully now that the masjids are opening up? Hopefully, inshallah, it's a good way to now start, because the masjids are going to be looking for assalamu alaikum, Sanawi. The masjids are going to be looking for programs to do to help bring people back into the masjids. The masjids have been closed for nearly what 2 years, so they're going to be looking on programs to do to bring the youth and bring the community back into the masjid to help the masjid sustain itself. So now would be a good time to approach the masjids and say, okay, then can we have parents meetings for those with special educational needs, those with SEN? Um, what about the deaf community? Can we do programs for them? And contact us. You can visit our website, islamfordeaf.co.uk. You can email islamfordeafweb, Islam for FOR, Islam for Deaf Web at gmail.com. And the contact number and the email address is on the website as well. So if you need any help in regards to organizing programs for the masjid, then we can help with that as well, inshallah. Yeah, definitely, inshallah, contact us, and we can get the ball rolling, get the ball rolling, inshallah, raise a budget for it and get the ball rolling, because it's something that we definitely need to do, because it's not getting any better, it's only getting worse. One thing I'll mention quickly as well is that a lot of the deaf community, from what I've witnessed, that there's not many, as I said, Islamic resources or Islamic programs for them, and Islamic circles at the masjid. So what they'll do, they'll go to non-Muslims for to socialize. And what's happening with these non-Muslim circles is that they'll go to the pub, or at the centers. They'll be serving alcohol, and they'll be getting up to no good. It's non-Muslim, so they don't really, there's no Islamic etiquettes there whatsoever. So there'll be and I've witnessed this. I've gone to learn when I'm learning about their, how can I say, when I'm learning about their culture. I've gone to some of their events, and I've noticed that, okay, they're serving alcohol here, so okay, I made an excuse and I've left. But while I was there, I seen many Muslim deaf people there, and it's not the place for me to start giving dawah, to say, it's for one, I shouldn't be there anyway, and two, I can't make an excuse of me giving dawah being there while I have a pint in the hand. No, so it's just something which I've noticed. I noticed a few times, and it's sad because there's no alternative for me to say, okay, leave here and go where. So we need to create alternatives for them, for our deaf brothers and sisters, inshallah. So again, it's important to highlight to the masjid that there's a problem here. We need to look into it. We can't ignore it anymore. It's been ignored too long. The result of us ignoring it is, deaf people now, not only leaving Islam, but saying, they want Islam, they say the Muslim, but there's not much follow up. Huh? I've joined a few Muslim circles as well, deaf Muslim circles, and the dawah, they definitely need the dawah. It's inshallah, it's a bit unfortunate, but we're working on it, inshallah. It definitely has to be a more awareness. There's no doubt about that. Maybe this message, there definitely has to be more awareness. Matches are a good place, no doubt, yes. They are also a part of the community, yes. The newer generation, are more likely to understand and are open. Yes, I agree with you there. We're the new generation, but the old generation can be stubborn as well, I mentioned something which I mentioned last week, when I went to the masjid and I spoke to one of the organizers who had responsibility of taking care of the masjid. I asked him, can we have a section for the deaf people? And he blatantly said that the deaf people don't need to learn anything. They can just come and follow and go home. They don't need to listen to what's going on because Allah took their hearing, so they don't need to know. Just follow everybody in their prayers and go home. And this person who said that is responsible over a masjid, is one of the main caretakers of not no small masjid either, of a huge masjid. And this is his ideology. This is his. This is what he said. So the awareness is definitely needed, and more people in position need to be held accountable. Held accountable. That's the word I'm looking for. More people in that position need to be held accountable for what they're doing, for taking care of the SEN, special educational needs. So I'm fasting, by the way, so you have to excuse me. So yeah, those who have any questions, fire them up, and I'll try and answer them. I'm going to cut down talking a bit because I'm fasting, and I need to make it to iftar, inshallah. So those who are watching, if you have any questions or any experiences, inshallah, we can share them and we can talk about them, inshallah, and see how we can move on, inshallah. Let me see, we had a few questions already. How can we contact? Okay, you can contact. So I'm getting texts as well. Okay. Yes, I mentioned the website. The website is Islam for Deaf. Islam for FOR Deaf, DEAF. Islamfordeaf.co. There you go. Islamfordeaf.co.uk. You can go onto the website and you can check out our work, inshallah. We have different sections in the address bar. You'll see where you can support. Well, I won't go into that, but you can. There's a part there. You can see where there's lectures, lectures and hadiths section there. There's children's section, which is, I'll definitely advise you to look into that. We've got cartoons in sign language. This is something which is I can't really describe how important this is. All children need tarbiyah. Tarbiyah is nurturing. All children need nurturing, from especially our children, especially what the alternative is out there. They need nurturing upon the Quran and Sunnah, and one of the best ways is making the nurturing fun. So one of the best ways is they're into cartoons, they're into games, they're into all that stuff. So this is something which you can use or utilize to help them with, inshallah, help their nurturing. Let me read this question. I never thought about deaf people having a problem with learning Islam. As here in the UAE, thank Allah, every channel about Islam has deaf language interpreting communication with the speaker. MashaAllah, MashaAllah, need that service also over here. And I think with the UAE, the majority of people there are Muslim. Anyway, the majority of people here in the UK are non-Muslim. So you would see and more programs then for deaf children who are not Muslim. Even I guess while we're talking about this, there are other faiths. There's Christians, there's Jehovah Witnesses that provide their Christian programs in sign language. Even I've come across Lives of the Prophets, the Christian version of it, and I was quite. I won't say, I was impressed. Alhamdulillah, I was impressed, but sad at the same time. Ki Yama Griffin, Assalamu alaikum. I was impressed because I've never seen it. I've never seen that before, but I was also sad because we know that we have the haqq, we have the truth with us, but we're so far behind when it comes to working with those with special needs. And programs. It's sad to know that knowing what we know, that we have the Haq with us, but we're so far behind in providing for our people with or our children with SEN. We tend to just follow, and even then, when we do follow our programs that we do, we don't really want to spend money on it. So the quality of it is, is very wishy-washy. I don't know if you understand wishy-washy. It's very how can I explain wishy-washy? The budget is low, very low, and you can see that in the quality of the program. Yeah. So therefore the effect is not as good or as strong to what the alternative is in comparison. So when I see in this Lives of the Prophets, the Jehovah's Witness version, half of it, it's half of it is barton, half of it is no good, and what half of it is upon some truth, but we can't give our children that, or we can't give our children that, knowing that it's wrong and knowing that it can lead to shirk as well. We can't. But what can we give them then if that's the case? If we can't give them this, what can we give them? Because we're not doing nothing. We're not providing for that. We've left out that. We're focusing on the able and leaving the disabled, and then those who have disabilities are going to the alternative, which can lead to shirk and lead them away from Islam. And I've met, unfortunately, Muslims that left the fold of Islam, deaf Muslims that have left the fold of Islam. A deaf sister recently left. May Allah guide her back. May Allah preserve her and hold her and keep her on the deen, inshallah. But she left, and I think that she was feeling disheartened because of the lack of resources for Muslim deaf people. And she wants to do TV programs. She wants to go on TV. She wants to do. She's been offered a job on, we're working on TV with non-Muslims for deaf programs for non-Muslims, and but it involved certain things which is un-Islamic. They don't want her to wear a headscarf, for example. And so she was fighting within herself what to do. This is what she wants to do, but she knows that Islamically that is not. She's gonna have to compromise her religion to do it. So therefore, Islamically, what can she do which can relate to what she wants to do? What can she do which can relate to what she wants to do? And there was nothing. And eventually, she ends up leaving Islam and doing what she wanted to do. Now, it's every person will be held accountable for their own selves, but as a ummah, we're going to be held accountable for not assisting or not providing for this. Whether, I don't know how Allah will deal with it. Allah knows best, but it's part of our responsibility, because that sister could have been your mother, could have been your own sister biologically, could have been your daughter. You may have a daughter or a grandchild that Allah may test with deafness, and she wants to do programs, and there's nothing Islamic for her to do. She just Shaitan will slowly take her away to something which she wants to do, which her heart desires to do, which is un-Islamic, and will compromise her deen, and she ends up doing it because we haven't provided an alternative Islamically. So this is it is something that is a problem, inshallah, and it's something that we definitely need to do. Alhamdulillah, Islam for Deaf, we're looking into that. We've been running now for about 6 years. We started Islam for Deaf, and alhamdulillah, we're during Ramadan for the last 2 years anyway. Every day of Ramadan, we've been doing Quran, and we've been doing lectures every day. It's called the Hour of Power. So if you visit the website, you scroll down, you'll see the Hour of Power there, and that's every day from 9 till 10 p.m., where we do half an hour Quran, half an hour Islamic lecture, and we're trying to introduce the deaf community to the mashaykh. Who are the sheikhs? Yes, Lashak, it's a test. We definitely need to do something, surely, for real. And part of what you can do is just visit the website for one. If you can't do something yourself, and help those who are doing something, so they can get the strength to do more. on the Islam for Deaf website, visit the kids page. You'll see a list. You'll see a drop down, a scroll of whole heap. Sorry, I'm Jamaican, so sometimes little things come out. You'll see a lot of cartoons there. Well, a lot. You see about probably 10 to 15 cartoons there, inshallah. And inshallah, after Ramadan, we're going to be doing more. We're going to be doing more, inshallah. We just finished the story of Yusuf, because Yusuf, the story of Yusuf, mashallah, if you know the story of Yusuf, or if you read it in the Quran, or sat down for a lecture of Yusuf, it is, mashallah, it's a beautiful story. It's a beautiful story, mashallah, and it was given to it was told to the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when the Prophet was going through difficulty in his life, when his wife Khadija passed away, and his other family member as well, who used to seek protection from, passed away, and Allah revealed Surah Yusuf, with the trials and tribulations that that Yusuf alayhi salam went through as well, dealing with his brothers, dealing with the woman who wanted to harass him, going through prison, coming out of prison, dealing with his brothers again, and then the ending. It's a nice, mashallah, it's a beautiful story, and we've interpreted it into sign language. So that we'll be putting that on the website today, later on today, inshallah. That will be on the website. It's in 3 or 4 parts. So we just finished part 2 today. So we'll be putting that up, inshallah. So definitely visit the website, islamfordeaf.co.uk, and have a look around. Okay, assalamu alaikum, it's Griffin. So your 9 p.m. in the UK is our 4 p.m. here in New York. Okay. So yeah, if I saw the Nasa, if it's, yeah, if that's it, then that's it. Yeah. So check it out. 9 till 10 UK time, and I think American time it's 4 till 5. Mashallah, one of my favorite prophets. I mentioned him in my book a few months ago. Mashallah, sister. Mashallah. In the stories that we do, we usually have someone read it out, and then we interpret it. So if you do write books, then email us if you do have a video of a book or audio of your book, or books that you have, Islamic ones preferably, then email us, inshallah, and we can have them interpreted into sign language, and we can put it out there for deaf children to also benefit and work from. These are the programs exactly like this. These are the programs that we need to do. We need to do programs like this for our deaf community. What is happening now is that the programs that I mentioned, the Hour of Power, Jazakallah khair, sister, what we're doing, the Hour of Power, we have now non-Muslims joining in on the class, because they want to know what's going on. They want to learn about Islam. They don't want to just, and they shouldn't, and we shouldn't let, or not even let, but we shouldn't just leave them, the media, to teach Islam to the general public, because we know that it can be exaggerated, and we know that it's not all what is being said. They kind of exaggerate it a bit. So we, as Muslims ourselves, need to tell our story, or tell the story of Islam, not leave it to the Muslims to tell the story of Islam, to our community and to our children, inshallah. So as mentioned, visit the website, inshallah, have a look around, get behind it, inshallah, and help push it forward. We're doing programs. After Ramadan, inshallah, we want to get to do some TV programs for our deaf and special needs community, inshallah. Do more programs with them, for them, and to strengthen them, give them an alternative, rather than them going to the pub or going socializing elsewhere, taking their deen from those who need to learn themselves, as we all do, but probably then more so. It's just that they're good motivational speakers, but Islamically they're not grounded. They're not like students of knowledge. So we need to provide Islamic education for our deaf community from people who are up on the correct understanding of 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 of, the deen. Hence, those who understand the way the companions understood it. I'm not going to go too much into that, but those who are practicing, you know what I'm talking about, understanding the way that they understood it because they had the best understanding, obviously, and those that follow on, and so on and so on and so forth. Hold on to the rope of Allah and teach the others how to hold on to it as well, inshallah. So going back to the masjids, definitely contact the masjids, inshallah. Let the masjids know that there is a need for it, and that we as a community want to do something about it. Um, uh, start the ball rolling. Lockdown, hopefully, it seems to be winding down over here anyway. I don't know how it is over there in the States or anywhere else, but it seems to be winding down. If we can, while it's winding down, start introducing new programs then for the masjid, for those parents with special educational needs kids, maybe chat rooms or visits to the park, so they can socialize and know that they're not alone. Um, these programs are definitely in the Islamic community are needed, inshallah. And what you'll tend to find is those who are not Muslim that want this service as well, or those who are not Muslim that want the same mannerisms, Islamic mannerisms. They may not want to call Muslim or may not want to socialize too much, but the mannerisms and the understanding they agree to and want. So they'll come in and they'll start to socialize, and this is a perfect way of also giving dawah as well. Give dawah through your actions, not just through your speech, because as mentioned before, those who followed and understood, inshallah, alhamdulillah, when things are opening there too. Well, this is a good way of introducing programs and getting involved. Programs for those with special educational needs, because parents with kids who have disabilities, with kids who are deaf, with children who have ADHD, it's a large spectrum, I know, but these parents need support. They need support. I've met so many parents that the stress levels are so high, it's physically affecting them. Their hair's falling out, their skin is being affected. Their health is diminishing. And there's not much Islamic resources. Just being told, sister, have patience, sister, have patience. Yes, Lashak, have patience, but also help with providing resources and programs as well, so they can socialize, so they can the ease pressure. They have a shoulder to lean on, and they know that they're not alone as well. So, alhamdulillah, now these masjids are opening up and things seem to be winding down. Start these programs up, inshallah. You can contact us. You can visit us through our website, islamfordeaf.co.uk. You can leave a number on there as well. You can WhatsApp. There's an email address there as well. You can email us and we'll respond back to you, inshallah. Excuse me, as I said, I'm fasting, so make an excuse for me. Contact us, inshallah, and we'll get back to you and we'll share what programs we can do, and we can look into new programs as well. Those, like the sister who says she's writing books or she's familiar with writing books, if you can contact us and let us know what books you have, then we can interpret them into sign language as well and let the deaf children benefit from that, and we can put it on a website. We also can put it on a TV station because working with Islam TV. At the moment, it's a Sky channel. At the moment, they just show like the Kaaba and the Mecca and things like this. But it's going to be a lot of new programs are going to be starting soon after Ramadan, inshallah. And inshallah, we're going to be providing some of them programs. And our aim is to provide programs in sign language for the deaf community at certain times. So they know at certain times on TV or they can watch it online. There's going to be Islamic programs for them, and we're going to start introducing them to the scholars. Nowadays, an Anashid artist can be a scholar. It's and I've seen that. I've actually seen that. I've actually seen on leaflets, Sheikh so and so and so and so will be singing so and so and so. I'm thinking, hold on, but this is where we are, unfortunately. this is where we are. We need to introduce the deaf community. We need to introduce Muslims, never mind the deaf community, to who the scholars are. But because I'm working in the arena of the deaf and special needs, I will do my best to introduce the deaf community to who the scholars are. I mean, scholars, those who have devoted their life to learning Islam, throughout the world, whether it be Africa, Pakistan, India, Saudi Arabia, um, those who are grounded in knowledge, inshallah, the mountains of knowledge. And we have translators who are translated from the Arabic to English and then from the English to sign language, inshallah. We have that already. We have a team of that already, inshallah. You'll visit the website and you'll see, especially on the Hour of Power, we have an Arabic interpreter and we have a British Sign Language interpreter as well. And every day, Ramadan, check it out. Okay, I'm going to take a few questions because we're going to be closing soon, inshallah. So if you have any questions, just type it up. Or, as I said, you can visit the website, islam4deaf.co.uk. Especially in this Ramadan, get behind it, visit the website. Your help and assistance and awareness is definitely needed, and may Allah reward you as well with barakah, inshallah, because it's something that we all want and need, inshallah. So again, we're going to be tying up now, inshallah. So Jazakallah khairan, those who have paid attention, those who had the patience with me. Excuse me for my voice nearly went, so some of them, well, during the talk, so excuse me for that. Inshallah, we're supposed to have had a guest, but inshallah, maybe they'll join us next week, Saturday, same time, same place. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.